My name is Alex Memon. I'm a personal injury lawyer in Chicago. I represent injured people and I get justice for them on their behalf. Um, Thanks for watching this video about how to give a deposition. I appreciate you taking the time to watch it. If you're watching this video, maybe you have a deposition coming up. Maybe you're involved in a personal injury case or some other kind of case, but hopefully this will be helpful to you when you sit down across the table from a lawyer and have to answer questions. What is a deposition? A deposition is a tool that attorneys use to get information about witnesses. It's also a way for lawyers to put people down on paper, to get their answers down on paper so that they're kind of stuck with one answer or another answer, so that when trial comes, whatever it is that they said at their deposition, they're stuck with it. The deposition is a series of questions and answers done in front of a court reporter who records everything simultaneously, usually at a lawyer's office or in a courtroom, and usually for somewhere between an hour to 3, 4, 5 hours, depending on what jurisdiction you're in and where this is all taking place. If you've been called for a deposition, that may have happened because you're a party in a lawsuit, or it may have happened because you've been subpoenaed as a witness to testify, and for whatever reason, one of the lawyers or maybe all the lawyers in the case want to know what it is that you have to say about the case. So those lawyers are then going to have you come in pursuant to potentially a subpoena or a notice, and have you sit down and answer questions on the record. The first thing that I tell people that I think is very important during a deposition is that you stay calm. There's no reason to be excited or upset during a deposition. This is a formal legal process, but it's not the trial. And I'm going to come back to that a couple times this afternoon. This is not a trial, okay? This is not the time where you're in front of a jury or a judge. So it's important that you remain calm, don't get upset, don't get agitated, and don't get flustered by the questions that are going to come at you, because there's going to be a lot of them. Along those lines, it's very important for any witness to answer the question that is in front of them, not to answer anything less and not to answer anything more. A witness must be prepared to answer only the question that's in front of them. And for that reason, it's also important for you to let the lawyer ask you the whole question before you try to start answering. Really very important to let that lawyer finish their question. It's important for a couple of reasons. Number one, you need to understand the question before you start to answer it. If you start to answer a question halfway through the question, you may well understand it, but it may be that you missed a big part of the question, and then suddenly you're answering a question that you don't understand, that is incomplete. And that may be a big problem for you down the road in your case. It's also important that you let your lawyer, who's going to be sitting there with you during this deposition, have the opportunity to object to the question. If your lawyer does in fact object to the question, please just stop talking, let your lawyer make his or her objection, and then wait for your lawyer to tell you that you may proceed and answer the question. It's also important that the court reporter be able to get everything down. So if you go ahead and start answering a question while the other lawyer is still talking, it's going to be very hard for the court reporter to get everything down, and the court reporter is going to stop you. You're going to get stopped and asked to slow down during the course of the deposition. So for many reasons, just let the other lawyer ask the full question before you go ahead and start answering it. Another point, it's very important to resist the urge to tell your story. Many of my clients feel a very strong desire to tell their story at their deposition, to put their case on, to kind of have their day in court. And it's important to remember that this is not your day in court. Your day in court is still probably months and months away. This is a time when you're not going to win your case with your lawyer. You could possibly lose it, but you're probably not going to win your case by putting on your full story and telling your full story. Simply, again, answer the questions that are in front of you. Nothing more, nothing less. it's also important to say not to be rude to the other side, because while you may not win your case, a plaintiff or a defendant who presents well at their deposition is someone who is going to make the other side a little bit more worried about their case. And the reason for that is that a person who presents well is going to present well not only to the other side, but also to a jury and also to a judge. If you come off in your deposition as a jerk, as rude, as uncaring, as flippant, then that's going to go into the report that the lawyer makes to their insurance company. That's going to go into the report that the lawyer makes to his or her client, and that's going to affect, maybe not a huge effect, but it will affect a possible settlement later on down the road. So it's very important, again, to be courteous and cordial with the lawyer throughout the deposition. Don't get offended by any of the questions that are asked. In all likelihood, the lawyer on the other side is not trying to offend you. They're in all likelihood not trying to throw you off. They're just taking the deposition. And sometimes questions are very personal in depositions. Attorneys have the right to ask questions about almost any area of your life during a deposition. And so don't get offended. Don't be upset. Just answer the questions that are in front of you. On the same line, don't get too comfortable with the other side, because again, this is a lawyer whose job it is to defeat your case. Whether they're on the plaintiff side or the defense side, their job is to potentially, hurt your case if you are a party. And if you get too comfortable, they may be able to use that to their advantage. So always remember the situation. Always remember where you are. This is not your friend. This is not your family. This is someone who is here to take your deposition. So again, just answer the question that's in front of you. I also want you to never guess. And your lawyer may tell you this, but it's important that if somebody asks you a question, if the lawyer asks you a question, and the best you can do is a flat-out guess. Tell the other side, I don't know, I'd be guessing. Because at the end of the day, a guess, if you're guessing and you say, oh, maybe it was maybe the car was 20 feet away, you may be held to that testimony later on. And if it turned out that that was just a guess, well, that wasn't a very good answer, was it? Always, 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 most importantly in a deposition, always tell the truth. There is nothing to be gained in trying to be dishonest or deceitful at a deposition. If your case relies on being deceitful, you have a bigger problem. And the bottom line is, you're not the smartest person in the room in all likelihood. So please always, always, always tell the truth at a deposition. Other than that, in all likelihood, your lawyer is going to talk to you before your deposition. I certainly hope so. And walk you through the process. But it's very important that you just remain calm, remain comfortable, take a break if you have to. This is a deposition. It's not an inquisition. And you certainly have the right to have a glass of water, to take a bathroom break if need be. So certainly feel free to ask for that if it's necessary. And other than that, just be yourself, and everything will be quite all right. Thanks again for watching this video. Again, my name is Alex Memon, and I appreciate it. Have a great day.